In this video, we're going to take a look at the New York State Education Department Computer Science and Digital Fluency Standards for grades 7 and 8. At the bottom of your screen and on your slide deck, you'll have the link that will take you out to see the actual standards from the state. Now, cybersecurity is an incredibly important concept area that we have within these standards. It's something that we have to think about for our own selves, and also to make sure that our students understand what the word means and how they can protect themselves every time they use technology. Cybersecurity is broken down into three sub-concept areas. The first one is risk. Here we're thinking about the vulnerability and the consequences if something happens. We're thinking about what we need to do anytime we use or expose to technology. Under safeguards, we're thinking about what we're going to do to protect ourselves, our digital security, and our safety measures to make sure that we're doing what needs to be done and what can be done to protect ourselves. And then finally, the response is when there's been a security breach, thinking about what we're going to do to take action to protect whatever we can and then improve that security moving forward. On your screen on the far left, you have the New York State Education Department examples that will take you out to the PDF of the ideas that educators across the state put together for the standards. In the center, you have the Wakelet collection. And then finally, all the way on the right, you have the activity books that we're going to hop into now. You can click anywhere on the page to get to those activity books. Since we're in grade band 7-8, we're going to click the fourth book from the left. We're going to click Read Now. We're going to click the forward arrow and then click on cybersecurity. Again, cybersecurity is broken down into risks, safeguards, and response. The first standard says, determine the types of personal information and digital resources that an individual may have access to that needs to be protected. Here we're thinking about what we should focus on, the data and the devices that they have and how they can protect what it is that they use. There's some great resources here for you to try out. The second one under safeguards is describe physical, digital, and behavioral safeguards that can be employed in different situations. Here we're thinking about what we should do with different things that we might be posting online. So students can think about what they do to protect themselves on their phone versus their school device and so on. There's some resources for you again. And then moving on to safeguard number 3, describe trade-offs of implementing specific security guards. So you could talk about the filters you have in school, or the pros and cons of using biometrics or facial recognition versus single factor or multi-factor authentication. Again, there's some really fun activities for your students. The final one in safeguards is to describe the limitations of cryptography methods. So cryptography is a great one for your students to be exposed to. They love to learn about encryption. They love to learn about different ways that you can code or decode different activities. This isn't talking about code like when we're talking about it with computational thinking. We're thinking of it here as maybe some sort of using letters instead of numbers, or numbers instead of letters, that you would do to help kind of hide what it is you're saying. Think of it like secret messages. There's an example of a cipher. A pigpen cipher is really fun for kids. The last standard is response. This one is describe actions to be taken before and after an application or device reports a security problem or performs unexpectedly. So it's, what do you do if something doesn't happen the way it's supposed to? Or if something happens, you could talk about email scams, and you could talk about malware, and you could talk about creating secure passwords and so on. So there's lots of resources for you in the book for these topics. Spend some time going through them.